Hi, I'm Nat.
And I'm Guy. And today we're talking Kanye West and Andrew Tate. They did a podcast together. It hasn't aired yet, but some interesting things going on.
My least two favorite people. Some of my least two favorite people. Yes.
But there were 5,700 cinemas shut down in the States.
Yes, which is why we need to save cinemas, and they need to start making better movies, in order to do so.
Yeah, I think they're trying to blame it on streaming, but I think the film industry has a lot to take accountability for here. They've been writing bad movies for quite a few years now.
Yes.
We'll talk a little bit about that later, but first maybe 20 minutes in Spanish.
20?
Oh, sorry, whatever you
15
want.
15 or shorter, probably.
You're making the rules, I'm
Hold
just
on.
following them.
I'm supposed to do a whole rearrangement. Ok, espérenme 2 segundos. A ver, ¿cómo les va? Ay, también no piqué lo que tenía que picar. Todo mal hoy, pero buenas noches. ¿Cómo les va a todos? ¿Cómo les ha ido? No hay muchísimas historias el día de hoy, pero sí quiero terminar de hablar sobre una de las historias que dije ayer, pero primero hablemos cómo... Mande. No sé qué quiere que haga. ¿Ahí? ¿There? Ok. Pero hablemos primero de que le niegan la libertad condicional a Yolanda Saldívar, si no se acuerdan, porque pues ya ahora sí pasó hace bastante tiempo. Yolanda Saldívar fue detenida en 1995 después de desvivir a la gran y famosa Selena Quintanilla y le robó la vida demasiado joven. Pero parece que ahora en Texas le han dicho, no, te quedas todavía porque eres un asco. Y si no se acuerdan, Yolanda Saldívar era la... Ay, no está temblando, me están moviendo la cámara. Yolanda Saldívar era como la presidenta del club de fans de Selena Quintanilla y también luego pues, se metió por ahí en su vida y terminó también siendo parte de las que administraban una de las tiendas de ropa de Selena Quintanilla. Y esta mujer estaba completamente de atar y decidió, después de que fue despedida y por varios otros motivos, pues ir a visitar a Selena a un hotel y robarle la vida demasiado joven. Se está moviendo todo. No me río de esto, me río de que se está moviendo la parte de atrás. Y la noticia es que no obtuvo la libertad condicional tras 3 décadas tras las rejas por dispararle a la joven en un motel de Texas en 1995. Lo anunciaron el día de hoy. Las autoridades Yolanda está cumpliendo una condena de una sentencia de cadena perpetua en Texas. Y pues durante su tiempo en Texas también pues, ha tenido bastante tiempo para pues, hacer cosas dentro de la prisión porque pues, no hay mucho más que hacer y parece que ahora ha sacado más o menos un título y también se ha estudiado para ser asistente legal, pero al final del día la corte y las autoridades dijeron hay posibilidad de que por su estado mental y por el tipo de crimen que hizo pues lo vuelva a hacer o se desate en cuanto la dejemos libre, entonces por ahora te quedas ahí adentro y también parece que está en una sección más solitaria de la prisión porque pues es una persona reconocida y que pues obviamente no le cae muy bien a todo el mundo por lo que hizo. Entonces parece que hasta el 2030 no va a tener oportunidad de volver a apelar la decisión, pero pues, creo y esperemos que vuelvan a decirle que no, que por lo que hizo y por cómo continúa hablando acerca de lo que hizo y de Selena y de su vida propia, pues no sería responsable dejar que esta persona esté libre. Entonces, pues qué bueno y más bien recordemos a Selena, recordemos su legado y sus canciones y todo lo que sigue aportando al mundo y olvidémonos de esta mujer loca. Le quería preguntar por qué está pasando esto. Y ahora la noticia de la que quería hablar ayer, porque creo que trae más temas pues, a colación, porque a veces hablo como señora viejita. También se quejaron muchísimas gracias también por apoyar, por ver el video sobre la historia de Blancanieves y todo este análisis que hice, porque pues, sí me parece importante que la gente, todo el mundo sepa que hay un motivo por el cual el personaje es como es y no nada más porque pues es una dama y la tienen que rescatar. Más bien viene con todo el trasfondo de la época, de lo que estaba pasando en 1930 y mientras estaba en producción. También fue una producción muy atropellada, Blancanieves, porque fue el primer largometraje animado en el mundo, pero para Walt Disney también. Y era una forma de que Walt Disney tratara de comprobar que sí podía sacar adelante su estudio, al cual no le estaba yendo muy bien tampoco, y fue lo que ayudó a impulsar pues todo lo demás y todo lo que vemos al día de hoy y todo lo que vemos que están arruinando. Entonces muchas gracias a los que vieron el video. Si no lo han visto, pues ya está en el canal. Por eso me tardé más esta semana, porque eran muchas cosas que poner y que buscar y que editar. Entonces por eso solo salió técnicamente un video editado esta semana, pero seguimos planeando para la próxima, ahora sí, para sacar más contenido. Y una de las cosas de las cuales quería hablar también ayer, que ya no me dio tiempo, fue sobre el cuento de la criada o The Handmaid's Tale, que es esta serie de televisión que está basada en un libro escrito por Margaret Atwood. Margaret Atwood es una escritora canadiense y yo, que estudié ciencias políticas y filosofía en Canadá, me tocó estudiarla y me tocó leer y analizar hasta la muerte básicamente el libro del cuento de la criada o de The Handmaid's Tale. Entonces lo tengo bastante claro todavía en mi mente, y toda la poca sutileza que dio esta mujer para examinar lo que pensaba esta distopía en donde todas las mujeres son forzadas a o ser esposas de este culto religioso que ha tomado el gobierno de Estados Unidos, o hacer básicamente máquinas para crear hornos, para crear bebés, y no tienen vida propia y todas están pues básicamente esclavizadas ante el patriarcado y ante el culto ultra religioso de ultraderecha, y así es como cree todo el mundo que es lo que va a pasar ahora con Estados Unidos. Y pues obviamente viene en gran tiempo la nueva temporada sobre el cuento de la criada, y parece que es la última, por suerte. Y una vez más, para analizar un poco el contexto histórico del cuento de la criada, fue escrito en 1980, entonces, o por ahí de los 80s. Entonces, espérenme, me pidieron que dejara de grabar. Estamos haciendo tests todavía, estamos tratando de ver ciertas cosas técnicas, entonces por eso si ven que la cámara viene y va y etcétera, es por eso. Pero el cuento de la criada, el libro fue escrito por ahí de los 80s, con toda esa ola, empezando la tercera ola feminista, y Margaret Atwood obviamente también súper feminista, pero estaba tratando de reflejar lo que veía que podría pasar en esa sociedad en ese entonces. O sea, saliendo de toda la era de Nixon, por ejemplo, y todo lo que estaba pasando económicamente también, y las oleadas que se venían de pues religión un poco más fuerte, de censura también por parte de ciertos grupos religiosos, no todos. Entonces, en ese contexto fue en el cual escribió, y ella desde Canadá también vivió en Estados Unidos, pero desde ese contexto escribió el cuento de la criada. Pero ahora, obviamente, hemos visto que en protestas y en marchas feministas y en marchas pro aborto y etcétera, usan mucho trajecito de Handmaid's Tale o del cuento de la criada, que es el que tienen que usar todas las que son vientres en alquiler, pues a las cuales pues sin su consentimiento terminan teniendo que hacer lo que se hace para crear bebés con los esposos superpoderosos, porque las mujeres con más dinero parece que no pueden tener hijos por vía natural. Entonces por eso esclavizan a las mujeres que son de menor clase o que no creen en la religión o que son fértiles todavía. Entonces las capturan a todas y se vuelve esta distopía en donde son forzadas a tener hijos y a hacer máquinas para hacer bebés para el patriarcado. Entonces, en esta sexta, me parece que es la sexta temporada, sí, y la última, parece que ahora sí salió el avance o el trailer de esta nueva temporada que va a salir, y parece que ahora sí van a armar una revolución y se van a escapar a Canadá, porque claro, Canadá en el libro y en la serie es como es su salvación y es a donde pueden llegar como casi, ¿cómo se dice? No indocumentados, a pedir asilo. Pueden llegar a pedir asilo del terrible Estados Unidos y esta distopía que se ha vuelto, pero Canadá sigue siendo un país completamente normal, que apoya los derechos de la mujer y etcétera, que me da risa porque ahorita justamente Canadá ya está en semidistopía y parece que va a seguir ahora con las elecciones, y si es que por alguna razón terminan eligiendo a Mark Carney, que es el nuevo primer ministro, pero bueno, parece que ahora sí van a armar una revolución en esta nueva temporada y es como la contestación de Hollywood y de los feministas y etcétera a la nueva presidencia de Donald Trump, porque obviamente en su locura y demencia anti-Donald Trump y en lo que se imaginan que va a pasar, esto es lo que va a pasar. Entonces le tienen que decir a las mujeres que ven la serie cómo hacerle cuando las vuelvan esclavas, máquinas para hacer bebés y vientres en alquiler y de gestación subrogada. Y obviamente en la serie y en el libro son los hombres los que realmente tienen el problema y los que no pueden tener hijos, pero todo le dan la culpa a las mujeres y la culpa también la tienen las mujeres que apoyan a estos hombres terribles. Otra vez el contexto no es súper sutil, igual que con Mickey 17, es una forma simplista y reduccionista de ver ni siquiera lo que podría pasar, pero lo tratan de usar como ícono de resistencia feminista y pro aborto y etcétera. Pero lo que me da mucha risa es que muchas de estas mujeres que se disfrazan de criadas del cuento de la criada y con atuendo rojo, caperucita roja, lo que están haciendo es que obviamente ellas siempre son pro aborto y pro derechos de la mujer, que faltan, que en mi opinión en muchos lados en donde lo hacen, como Estados Unidos, etcétera, no les hacen falta derechos a las mujeres, por lo menos no en papel, pero se disfrazan de eso y luchan que pro aborto, que pro hay apoyos para personas que no pueden tener hijos biológicamente, le hace la comunidad alfabeto y también mujeres que se esperaron hasta sus 40 y tantos porque estaban muy ocupadas empoderándose y trabajando todo 24/7 y no enfocándose en tener una familia o buscar un esposo o alguien con quien pasar el resto de su vida. Pero lo que me da risa es que como apoyan tanto a estos movimientos de pro fertilización in vitro, pro espérate hasta el último momento que puedas para tratar de tener hijos, no se dan cuenta de la disonancia cognitiva que tienen al disfrazarse o al que apoyar o que les encante esta serie del cuento de la criada o el libro, porque la gestación subrogada o los vientres en alquiler es una de las industrias más asquerosas que hay en todo el mundo, y más o menos estaba haciendo una serie de videos sobre esto, pero no tuvieron muchísimo interés, entonces la voy a retomar ya que pasa algo de tiempo, cuando haya alguna noticia que haga ruido y que le interese a más personas que las que sí vieron esos videos. Pero, por ejemplo, Italia penaliza la gestación subrogada en el extranjero, una medida tachada de medieval por los críticos. Italia ya había penalizado la gestación subrogada o los vientres en alquiler dentro del país, pero ahora también las personas que quieren ir a buscar vientres en alquiler fuera de Italia, cuando regresen o cuando el gobierno se entere o alguien se entere de que intentaron hacer eso o que de esa manera obtuvieron un hijo, una vida humana, puede también que tener repercusiones de esta decisión que tomaron, y la gente lo tacha de medieval porque obviamente es la única forma en la que ciertas personas de la comunidad alfabeto pueden llegar a tener hijos, porque biológicamente no se puede. Pero es justamente lo que pasa en esta historia del cuento de la criada y en esta distopia de la cual habla Margaret Atwood y desde los 80s, pero como que no conectan los hilos y no se dan cuenta de lo que están tratando de apoyar y por lo cual se enojan de que ahora ya no se puede hacer. También en Estados Unidos no hay ningún tipo de regulación y no hay ningún tipo de legislación real, por lo menos a nivel país. Entonces pasan cosas muy, muy turbias turbias. Hay redes de mover personas de un lugar a otro, también el tipo de procedimientos que se tienen que hacer para que pueda funcionar todo esto, en especial para las que son vientres en alquiler, básicamente son horribles. También todo lo legal sobre a quién le pertenece pues esa bebé. Al final del día, por ejemplo, si los padres deciden que ya no lo quieren, entonces queda como en un limbo el pobre niño, porque ya ha pasado recientemente también en Estados Unidos. Por ejemplo, hubo una madre que se dio como por circunstancia, se entregó como vientre en alquiler y pues le pagaron obviamente para una pareja de la comunidad alfabeto, y durante, no me acuerdo cuántos meses tenía de embarazo, pero mientras seguía embarazada del hijo de estos dos hombres, le detectaron cáncer, y en cuanto le detectaron cáncer a la madre que estaba de vientre en alquiler, le dijo a la pareja de hombres, y ellos dijeron que no querían nada. No querían tener nada que ver con ella ni con el niño, porque podría tener que dar a luz antes de tiempo, y eso pues obviamente puede traer consecuencias, no siempre, dependiendo de qué semana se da a luz de forma prematura. Pero pues esta pareja dijo, no queremos nada que ver con el niño, ya no te vamos a seguir, ya no te contratamos, ya el contrato está completamente nulo. Entonces ella seguía embarazada de este hijo, que pues este niño que técnicamente no es su hijo, pero está dentro de ella, pero en ADN y etcétera no le pertenece a ella, aun cuando ella lo está pues gestando. Entonces terminó sí teniendo que dar a luz de forma prematura. Obviamente el bebé no sobrevivió, pero como los padres ya no querían tener nada que ver con este hijo defectuoso, que ni siquiera era culpa del niño, era porque le pasó algo a la persona que estaba gestando, a la madre biológica, digámoslo así, aunque no biológica, pero en cuerpo sí. Entonces los restos de este bebé terminaron siendo abandonados y no se sabía qué hacer con ellos. Eventualmente la familia de la persona, la madre, el vientre subrogado, de gestación subrogada, pudieron darle un entierro y pudieron pues tratar de hacer algo digno por esta vida perdida. Pero pasa muchísimo este tipo de historias donde los padres que contratan a alguien para que sea su vientre en alquiler se echan para atrás, o se desenteran, o rompen los contratos, o deciden terminar el embarazo en cuanto salen, por ejemplo, pruebas de ADN donde se muestra que podría tener algún tipo de condición, mientras que la persona que está siendo rentada, cuyo cuerpo está siendo rentado, dice pues eso no estaba en el contrato, o puede que no sea real. Entonces hacen que pase por un aborto siquiera sin que esta persona estuviera de acuerdo. Es un mundo muy turbio, y eventualmente sí quiero hacer un video sobre esto, pero quería evidenciar un poco esta como, pues sí, disonancia cognitiva entre lo que dicen apoyar, pero luego de lo que también dicen quejarse, y de cómo ven el mundo que se imaginan versus el mundo real y lo que realmente está pasando, y el tipo de personas y el tipo de movimientos políticos, diré, o de partidos políticos que apoyan cosas contra las que según esto no están de acuerdo, pero luego luchan por el derecho de hacerlo. Disonancia cognitiva, les digo. Pero déjenme ver si alguien ha dicho algo. Ahora sí ya me explayé mucho. ¡Ay! Muchos. Rafa, primer comentario, muchas gracias. Moisés Ramírez dijo, yo ya estaba pensando que todo iba a ser en inglés, mejor en español. Sí, los primeros 15 minutos son en español, pero después, pues como es el canal de los dos, y todavía Guy solo habla en inglés, está aprendiendo español, pero obviamente no para hablar de temas políticos. Entonces por eso empiezo con español y ya de ahí nos pasamos a inglés. Maui Yogan Wellness, se merece eso y más. La mujer lucró con su versión de la historia misma que se estrenó en plataformas. Exactamente, también se me olvidó mencionar eso. Rafa también dice, como que acá en México nadie pela el cuento de la criada, o me equivoco. Pues yo, mientras estaba en Canadá, viviendo en Canadá, en Vancouver, mucha gente veía la serie y se disfrazaban de eso y marchaban y protestaban disfrazadas de criadas. Entonces tal vez aquí en México no, pero también he visto que por ejemplo en Argentina y en España también he visto ese trajecito. Entonces tal vez aquí en México no, pero en otros lados sí. Luego van a hablar sobre la serie adolescente. Justamente quiero hablar sobre la serie de Adolescence. Técnicamente es muy buena, pero creo que trae un tema entre líneas bastante woke. Y por lo que he visto y las reseñas que he visto de esa serie, chance haré un video sobre eso la próxima semana, porque sí, me la puedo echar este fin de semana y luego sacar un video la próxima semana, pero me parece que toca justo temas importantes, pero los voltea y tergiversa completamente y no llega al punto real de lo que está pasando en el Reino Unido, y más bien lo trata de disfrazar y pintar de una cosa cuando es otra cosa, y tiene que ver con la religión de la media luna, pero dicen que son todos los chavitos de ultraderecha blancos. Entonces sería muy bueno hablar de eso. Gracias, Luis Medina Sánchez, por, pues ahora sí que el recordatorio de que sería un buen tema. Y luego Walker dice, el feminismo en esa búsqueda de derechos de la mujer simplemente ha disuelto a la mujer ya no existe con las mujeres trans, lo cual tiene sentido porque el fin último de ellos es que solo, y ya no, supongo que es que solo exista gente sin género, o que solo exista gente, no sé, pero justamente sí, el feminismo completamente rompió con lo que quiere decir mujer. Primero, al tratar de equiparar completamente a mujeres con hombres y no tratar de hacer distinciones que todavía existen. Y después, obviamente, de esa línea salió toda la línea de que cualquiera se puede identificar como quiera, las mujeres no pueden describir lo que es una mujer, no saben ahora qué quiere decir mujer. Entonces, pues en mi opinión, todo este tema trans, aunque ahora se quejen de eso y aunque ahora traten de luchar contra eso y las TERFs y etcétera, todo sale gracias al feminismo y a tratar de decir que los hombres son igual que las mujeres. Por más noble que haya tratado de ser su causa al principio, nos ha llevado a donde estamos el día de hoy. Pero bueno, ahora sí ya me callo, ya llevo mucho tiempo hablando, pero buenas noches. Ahora nos vamos con temas en inglés y de ahí nos pasamos a la plataforma de RUMBLE. El link está en la descripción para hablar de política sin censura, porque YouTube le encanta censurar. Pero por ahora primero hacemos cultura en inglés con Guy y después de ahí nos vamos a RUMBLE. Pero bueno, muchas gracias y gracias por todos sus comentarios. No se les olvide ponerle like, me choca decir eso, pero hay que decirlo. Y de compartirlo. Y nos vemos mañana porque apenas es jueves, aunque se siente que es viernes. Muchas gracias y a ver. And there we go.
Okay, and I think I got my mic working today.
Good.
Yesterday we had a little bit of a problem.
Let me double check if it does work.
Yeah, it does.
Talk? Okay, yes, it does.
Okay. Well, do you want to start with the Kanye West story?
You were playing a lot around with the cameras.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to test things so we can start clipping things next week.
Yes, because we want to start releasing clips of the Spanish section. We tried it this week. It kind of worked, but we have to
making a bunch of improvements before we fail again.
Yeah, we're not gonna fail again.
What was the first story you were talking about in Spanish? I didn't.
Do you know who Selena
Yeah.
is? So they didn't allow the person that took her life, to have to get conditional freedom.
Well, they're in jail then.
Yes.
And the
woman is in jail.
When does her probation or sentence end?
It's life.
Oh, it's life.
Yeah, it's life, but she had appealed it again, and they said no again.
And what's life in Mexico?
No, she's in Texas.
Oh, she's in Texas.
Well, yeah, it happened in Texas.
Oh, okay. I didn't
Selena
know.
was American,
yeah,
let's just say, but beloved by the Mexican people. But yes.
Okay, let's get into somebody that's maybe less beloved, and that's Kanye West and Andrew Tate.
Least less beloved by me, but yes. Kanye West recorded podcast with Andrew Tate, so it's a meeting of the disgusting men.
Yeah, why don't you read a little bit into it? Because I started to read the article, but sure. There was quite a few salacious things that came up.
I was going to mention that curiously, and there's been this whole thing on Instagram with two reporters, one of them Candace and the other one House and Habit, or Jessica Reed Krause. If you watched Candace's show today, she talked about it, but I follow both of them and I kind of support both of them in their little spat. But one of them highlighted that it's interesting that TMZ is the only one that always reports on Kanye West updates and things, like no other outlet really comes out with breaking news. So it might seem like Kanye is himself putting all of these blasts to go to TMZ.
Well, I'm sure.
Yes, Because he needs fame. Because nobody likes him.
Well, I actually seen a clip of Andrew Tate, and I know you don't like Andrew Tate, but I actually like the guy. I like a lot of the stuff he does talk about. But the most recent clip I seen of him was just like he's starting to get really negative on a lot of things. So we'll see what happens.
Negative on what?
He was saying he doesn't like culture. He doesn't like other people's culture at all. So he'll take the food, but you can leave your culture out the door when you come to his country.
Oh, like Mexico and stuff.
Not just Mexico. He literally called out every single country in the world: India, the Middle East, Mexico, Japan, South Korea. Yeah.
Okay. So yes, Kanye West and Andrew Tate didn't just hang out in a recording studio and take photos together. They also sat down and recorded a podcast. This is probably coming from Kanye himself. Andrew's girlfriend and accuser, Bree Stern, mentions the podcast in her lawsuit against Tate, claiming Tate and Kanye filmed the episode earlier this month in Los Angeles before Tate allegedly did bad things to her during an encounter of the third kind.
Yeah, I'm wondering what podcast this was for, because Kanye doesn't have a podcast as of right now. Maybe they're recording a bunch of episodes, and they're
maybe Tate's thing he does online is not a podcast. It's him bragging.
Tate does have a live on Rumble.
Well, it's him bragging. Yes.
Well, it is a podcast.
Annoying for
it's as much as a podcast as this is.
This is not a podcast. This is a show, a nightly show.
Oh, it's different than a podcast.
Yes, because we don't sit down and record episodes and edit them and put like audio behind it.
Well, yeah, Tate shows live as well.
Okay. So maybe they're calling it a podcast. I would call that a show.
So we're the same as Andrew Tate then?
No, we're not. You might be, but no, you're not. Luckily, you're not. Otherwise, I wouldn't be with you. But we previously obtained photos of Kanye and Tate. That Kanye and Tate. Somebody needs to learn redaction in TMZ. Took the night, that's too much to ask. Took the night off the alleged incident, and this was also the same night Kim Kardashian yanked Northwest out of Kanye's recording studio after Ye invited the Tate brothers to join them. Andrew's attorney, Joseph McBride, hinted at the podcast collab in a March 11th post on X, saying, "Last night I sat on a couch and watched Andrew, Tristan, and Kanye talk for hours about the suffering and betrayals they've endured for achieving greatness on their own terms."
Well, Kanye is in a lot of crazy things, and he's put himself kind of in this uncounselable category. He's done and said things that are so crazy. Now, when Diddy files are coming out and Kanye's highly linked within this Diddy case, it's not making any waves for Kanye because he's kind of made himself uncancelable. Some of the acts that are in these Diddy files, you would think, if it was anybody else other than Kanye, they would have face cancellation, but he's not even getting anything from this.
Well, I think people are like so sick and tired of him by now.
I still like him. I still listen to his music.
Like his drama and every single thing he does. Like nobody really cares anymore because it's just too much.
Yeah, but I think it was less about the drama, and he's intentionally trying to make himself uncancelable.
Maybe.
So.
But I mean, it's working because nobody really cares anymore.
Yeah. Okay, do you want to go on to the next story, or do you have anything else about this? I also think Andrew Tate's getting a lot more brazen now that he's in the United States with Trump, so he knows he has much more protection.
Well, wasn't he just visiting?
Well, I don't know. He seems to be here more permanently now. There, yeah. When he was in Romania, he was facing charges and extradition to the UK, so he couldn't, even though he seems to speak freely, I'm sure he was holding back on a lot of things.
Maybe.
Okay, let's go into the next story, which was the 5,700 movie screens shut down.
With 5,700 movie screens shut down and the box office in a slump, theaters are still waiting for a post-pandemic comeback, and I don't think they'll see one until the film industry, or they start trying to demand the film industry make things that people actually want to go watch. Yeah,
I completely agree with that. I think we were talking about this earlier today, and things during the pandemic, and when the pandemic happened, it was really peak woke Hollywood. Then the pandemic happened, so all those woke scriptwriters and everything were really locked inside, and I'm sure they were just writing away furiously. So there's probably a ton of woke backlogged content that's already been sold that's supposed to be made. Studios are starting to realize they need to transition away from that. Problem is there may not be any content either created or scripted out ready to go.
Yeah, and production timelines take like years and years. So anything we're seeing right now is probably written 2, 2 to 3 years ago.
Yeah, so I'm
coming
expecting
out, or more.
You're going to look at least another 1.5 to 2 years before you get really good mainstream content that's made for non-woke audiences.
Normal audiences.
Normal audiences, yeah. Anything that comes out that's kind of normal may be rushed through production just to get something out.
Something that people will go watch. But
Yeah.
also I think during the pandemic, it kind of trained people. And we saw this with Encanto from Disney. I hate saying it like that. Encanto from Disney. And other movies that kind of came out just on streaming first on streaming because of the pandemic and people were scared. I can't say that word. Because of the thing. So it trained people to watch things at home, and if they weren't sure about something, to not spend money or, precious life cells going to a theater. And this also has caused people to stop going to theaters as much and just wait until it's released on streaming.
And there's not
which has also brought down attendance numbers.
There's not a huge wait time between a theater and it goes to streaming. We used to live above the movie theater when we lived in Vancouver, Canada, and after the pandemic, that thing was like a ghost town. I think all across North America, theaters were like ghost towns after the pandemic. They slowly kind of recovered, but not nearly where they should be. In Mexico, theaters, I see they have recovered. People are going a lot. They're extremely packed every time I stop by the mall or something like that.
And Mexico does have like a very strong cinema film culture still. And it is appreciated by people, and they like to do that on a weekend. It's also like quite a bit cheaper than in the United States, for example, or in Canada where we were. But I think also if they started trying to do things a little bit differently, like if theaters, not here maybe, but in the US and Canada, where they're actually losing people and screens and they don't have anything to release, maybe work on releasing things that people already like, because we've seen that work before. When they released Harry Potter again, they did a re-release in theaters. A lot of people want to go watch it maybe for the first time in theaters because they were too young when it came out, or they just want to relive the experience on the big screen. Also, old Disney movies. Like if they had released Snow White original, like the 1937 version, on theaters, I think they would have done way better than the new version of Snow White, and they would have actually made more money and spent less money because it's already made. So if they start bringing back like old beloved movies,
well, they're making all
that might help them.
They're making all these remakes as well.
Yes.
Before the remake comes out, they should throw the original Snow White in theater or the original movie in theater before or after. You don't want to have them in the theater at the same time.
No, not at the same time.
Yeah, but we were also saying, they should play like beloved movies people want to see. Independent theaters kind of do have a niche on that, and they do.
And they do also like event nights. I mean, here only when something premieres or stuff like that, but sometimes in Vancouver they would do, I mean, I don't like it, but Rocky Horror Picture Show, and like people would dress up, or it would become a whole thing, or like a sing-along showing for a Disney movie, or who knows.
Well, they also started doing live sporting events and
concerts
and live gaming events.
Taylor Swift concerts, like they all got filled up too in theaters.
Yeah, but what I would say about that is,
and they do the NFL here, I think.
I don't really want to watch, and people generally don't want to watch NFL or UFC at a theater because there's no drinking, and drinking has a lot to do. What?
Here they do, well, in the VIP ones. Same in Vancouver.
You can, but you
adult ones.
You kind of don't want to sit there quietly drinking and watching the sporting event. You want to you want a bar atmosphere. Even I don't drink, but I like to be in a bar atmosphere if I'm going to watch the fight, or I like to be at home. I don't want to be in a theater.
Yes, but I mean, so maybe just re-release beloved movies.
Yeah.
Like for example, right now, if they would release Lilo and Stitch this month, kind of preemptively, or like in April before the new live action version comes out, I would go watch it in theaters. I'd also go watch Freaky Friday. And I'm not super excited about the remake, but I'm going to watch it anyways. But I would watch the original one. If they release Mean Girls again, or like classic rom-coms, or Disney films, like I think they have a big market for that, for the things that people are still watching on streaming 20, 30 years like since they've been released. Just put them on a bigger screen and give people popcorn.
Yeah, but also I think...
And it becomes like a communal experience.
Yeah, I like the idea, but I also think mainstream filmmakers and distributors of these movies like to have complete control of what's in theaters. We see this with Disney a lot. They often make movies into 3D just to monopolize the amount of theaters it's in, so other movies can't get in there. I also think they really like to control actors' careers and things like this. If they start playing older movies, this is going to give older stars a lot more cachet to negotiate contracts and things like this.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the next story here.
Sure. And I did not understand this story. Just let me center it. Where is it?
Okay, well, it was the Wheel of Time showrunner.
Yes, but I don't understand. So Wheel of Time showrunner on expanding shows queer universe in season 3 and the high fantasy genre. It was worth devoting my life to. I have no idea what the show is.
Well, I didn't know what the show was either. I put it in here because they are investing in putting a abundance of queer characters in the next season. And this just shows, as much as a lot of studios have got the hint to walk away from woke culture and things like this, this particular show isn't. And the showrunners and the people that are making this this show are extremely proud of it. So,
and also, I mean, it helps just because, like, reading the little excerpt there. So Rav Judkins explains how LGBTQ plus inclusion in the book series inspired the Prime Video adaptation, exploring fantasy cultures without homophobia, and the Ael's first sisters. But I want to focus on that whole, like, without homophobia, exploring fantasy cultures, because a lot of beloved properties have been accused of homophobia in several different ways. For example, Lord of the Rings has been accused of it, and that's also why they included way more stuff in the new series that did terribly. That was also a Prime Video one.
They make these
also with Harry Potter and J.K. Rowling. I mean, people still to this day on YouTube, when they do analysis of Harry Potter, will say the author instead of her name, J.K. Rowling, just because she wants to defend women's rights, and she's still a raging feminist, and she's still super progressive. But because she said that women don't, fake women don't belong in women's spaces, now they're attacking her. But they still want to talk about the property. Like, if it was such a big deal to you that the author J.K. Rowling said these things, why are you still analyzing, consuming, talking about Harry Potter? If it was such a big deal, you would completely stop watching it or talking about it. But clearly they don't really care, and they're just posturing.
Yeah, I mean, my view on the situation is I don't mind seeing a gay character here or there in the script when it's
it makes sense.
If it makes sense and it's well written in. But number two, overall, I think as a society we should be pushing more of a nuclear family. We do want to reproduce at a normal rate. Right now, the Western countries can't even reproduce themselves.
Yes.
And so they're having to immigrate people from other cultures, which very often clash with their own culture.
Yes, go watch my video on population collapse. It's in Spanish.
So I think what we really need to be promoting in movies and basically mainstream culture is maybe the nuclear family, good moral values, things like this. Maybe I'm just getting older, but yeah.
I mean,
I don't really mind seeing LGBTQ characters in a movie, but it has to be done tastefully and it should be done sparingly. And when I say sparingly, they're a very small demographic within the population, so they're massively overrepresented in movies and video games and TV series.
And I mean, I think the main thing is if it makes sense, because LGBTQ stories can be very interesting and very compelling and very well done. But if you're just inserting a gay romance out of nowhere, or now the main character is also gay, or there's just gay people everywhere, where it doesn't make sense, like in a medieval story about, I don't know, knights, and now everybody's gay. Doesn't make, this reinvention and also the retelling of history in a way that they want to see it rather than how history actually was, actually makes people less understanding of the actual discrimination that happened back then.
And you kind of have to realize that they've done this on a lot of levels. Like you were saying, they were saying these movie properties were homophobic, but they also put benefits where you can only qualify for awards if a certain number of your on-screen talent was LGBTQ.
Go watch my Oscars video where
or
I talk
DEI,
about it.
And then also they hit them on a third level, which was it was easy to get funding if you had LGBTQ storylines and things like this in there.
Yes.
So on every level, this is why you're seeing this overabundance and overrepresentation of a certain community.
Yes, but also the mistelling of history. which annoys me a lot.
Okay, let's go into the next story before we get
So speaking
off track.
of mistelling of history, I like to get off track. So Joe Rogan says Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, you know way more about this than I do, effed up with Justin Baldoni legal battle. Everyone is scared of them.
Yeah, I mean, when the story first came up, not the Joe Rogan part, but Ryan Reynolds, I naturally sided with Ryan Reynolds because I liked him. I didn't know much about Blake Lively, and I did not like Justin Baldoni at all. He was a raging feminist leftist, the kind of person I wouldn't normally like. But as Candace Owens did the reporting and more things came out, Justin Baldoni just published everything. So everything was transparent, and now Blake Lively tried to block all this stuff because it's making her look bad. It's not only ruining the reputation in Hollywood, but they're highly susceptible to a major lawsuit. We're looking at $400 million here, possibly. And this is going to be a major hit to their bottom line. More and more things start coming out with this, with Ari Emanuel's wife.
Who's Ari Emanuel?
He was running one of the big talent firms within Hollywood, WMG. It also owns the UFC, a lot of sporting properties. They're one of the biggest companies.
That's why he's connected. Okay.
They're one of the bigger companies in the United States. But this all connects around to Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively. It looks like, I'm not saying this is what happens, but it looks like they were trying to steal the rights of this property from Justin Baldoni. He spent his own money and a lot of time on this movie. This was kind of like his life's work. And they were trying to steal it out from under him with a Me Too movement kind of lawsuit. And it's kind of backfiring on them now.
Yeah, I mean, it is sad that it's brought down these two. Not so much. I mean, I just kind of sided with her at the beginning because of Gossip Girl and because she's pretty. And because I knew her way more than Baldoni, who I'd only seen a TED Talk of him talking about how much of a feminist he is. But yeah, I haven't really followed this one because I think I'm still drained from following day to day, hours on end, the Johnny Depp Amber Heard case. We were on it. During the pandemic, you and I were watching that case 4, 5, 6, 7 hours a day, the whole court cases, and then lawyers, there was nothing to explaining it. There was nothing better to do. But that's why this one just seems like another one. But this one's interesting because it's bringing in a man, which is Ryan Reynolds, into the whole fold of trying to make smear someone for no reason.
Well,
to steal the property from him.
To steal the property, yes. Yeah. So,
but apparently Joe Rogan sides with what's his face? Justin Baldoni.
Well, it was funny that Joe Rogan actually said something about this. Maybe he just wasn't thinking, but Ari Emanuel is one of his bosses from the UFC. Mm-hmm. So Dana White's boss is actually Ari Emanuel and WMG. So things could roll back downhill, but Joe Rogan's successful on so many fronts. UFC's not going to fire him, and if they do, it would be him. Bad headlines for them.
Dana, whatever his name is, won't let that happen.
No, and they would immediately connect it back to this feud.
Yes.
So.
And also, apparently, I just saw this on Instagram on some gossip site. The author, whose name escapes me, what's the author? The book's author?
What
book? Apparently, she was also trying to steal the property with them. Whatever. She was posting some really weird, random, drunken videos onto Instagram. So people were wondering what's going on there as well. Maybe it's getting to her, everything that's happening. And also some stories came out about her son having done something similar to what the story says, talks about, and she being a hypocrite and trying to defend him, but having written a story about domestic abuse. Before
we move on to the next story, maybe we'll give a little bit of a tidbit of the juice that was going on in this story. The juice, yeah. What happened? One of the situations that happened that Blake Lively claimed that was sexual harassment by Justin Baldoni.
Bad harassment.
Bad harassment by Justin Baldoni was she was breastfeeding in her trailer, and he walked in on her and started having a conversation. The truth was she told him to come to the trailer at that time, and the text messages show that. And so. Okay, let's go into the next story, which was Yellowstone.
Yes. So Yellowstone spin-off series with Luke Grimes and Spencer Hudnut, that's a weird last name, eyed by CBS.
Yeah, so they're making a lot of money off this Yellowstone, and even the spin-off series from this, I don't believe this is the first one, is getting a lot of viewership when they do it. I don't want to see another Yellowstone series. I really liked Kevin Costner in the original, and I thought he's the cornerstone of that series. He's no longer in it, but I also liked the co-actor that was playing kind of like the tough ranch hand, and those two characters really held it down. This gentleman played one of the sons, and he was an interesting character, but to have a whole spin-off on him, I don't know about that.
I mean, his storyline was kind of interesting. I don't really remember it.
He dated the Indian lady from the tribe. Yeah, the tribe, and had a child with her.
And he was like all goody two shoes and trying to, hold the family together. But yeah, I mean, Taylor Sheridan, who is the creator of this and the prequel and the sequel and the one in Texas and he has a whole universe now. The Taylor Sheridan cinematic universe or TV show universe. I think, his efforts have been valiant in trying to bring stories that connect a little bit better with, the regular American public, middle America, because it's telling more of their stories, which hadn't been told in a long time, I feel like.
Yeah, but
because most of this TV show series, etc., were always based in New York or Los Angeles or some big city where, things that only happened to rich people were happening, or super what's it called? Urban settings, let's just say it. But nobody was telling the stories of the farmers and, the Midwest and the ranchers.
Yeah, I think this is starting, it's not quite there yet, but it could be on the border of Marvel Universe territory where they're just making too many properties off of this. I would like to see him come up with maybe a new storyline that he can make spin-offs with. There's a certain point where I just don't want to see any more of it. Or if I do, you need to give me a break.
And there's only a certain point to where you can explore a world and a universe. You already went back in time. I don't know if they've gone forward in time. Maybe this one will.
This is it. This is the kid.
This one will probably go forward. You already went to Texas. You already went, I don't remember where else they went. And then they went in the middle. It's been done, and there's only so many stories to tell.
Also, the issue was in
the way they've been telling them.
They burned bridges with Kevin Costner, so I think they're trying to make him the focal point if the seasons want to continue.
Yes, and they did bring in someone else. What's his name? Another big old Hollywood actor for that one other series.
Oh, I can't remember.
We talked about it.
Okay, let's go into the next one, which was there was another Snow White story.
Oh, yes. I can't escape this woman. But Snow White's producer's son slams immature Rachel Zegler, clearly hurt the film. That's like saying water is wet. But producer Mark Platt's son Jonah posted and deleted a scathing comment about the Disney star.
Yeah, I'm going to say, I didn't like Rachel Zegler. Everybody knows my feelings on it at this point because I've said it. But now Disney, the producers, anybody that was involved in this film is trying to throw her under the bus when everybody kind of messed up because it was a bad movie on every level.
Yes.
And I'm not trying to defend her in any way, shape, or form, but this is intentional by the producer's son to maybe help out his dad.
And also, Mark Platt, Jonah Platt, if you don't get the nuanced reference there, they're also one of the focuses of what he said was trying to turn it towards anti-Semitism and her support for Palestine, and saying that also kind of shouldn't have been brought into the fold either, and that her comments offended not just them and the movie, but everybody.
And I don't necessarily agree with her whole Palestine comments,
no.
But I do defend the right for her to say it.
But don't say it when your movie's being released.
And that's what I'm going to say.
Don't be stupid.
So if she's got a major movie release coming out, don't say it while the movie's even in theaters. You have to wait a little while before you're going to say it. I know she, in her mind, is probably thinking, "Oh, this is the time.
It's a great opportunity.
My voice is the loudest." But you don't want to say anything political during that time.
And Disney,
it would have been fine later on.
And Disney should have put, tape over her mouth and told her, or at least given her some sort of PR training, not now when they're trying to, fix things, but before.
Well, we did report on it.
Post anything.
We did report on it, and they did. And they sent the director out there multiple times to talk to her because supposedly they had a friendship and she refused. So...
Then don't invite her to premieres. Don't let her go interview. Say she's busy.
I don't think she'll be having that opportunity anymore.
No.
Maybe on Broadway.
Yes.
And Broadway,
but I mean, and I do agree, like most of this, the film being hurt it's Disney's fault. It's because they spit on Walt Disney and Walt Disney's legacy. And everything I talked about in my video that I released today. Like, it's about, like, the main thing was that they messed up the whole ethos of the movie.
Oh, yeah. Before we move on to the next one, because we've talked a lot about Snow White, yes. She did make a video about the entire history of the original Snow White and how it led into this catastrophe. If you haven't watched it, I noticed our regular videos haven't been being pushed to our subscribers. It's all new people when we look at the statistics. So,
and thank you to the new people, but... Yes. Okay,
the next story is Judge allows New York Times copyright lawsuit.
Oh, hold on. I don't have that.
Okay, so I'll read it.
I was going to talk about The Handmaid's Tale again.
We'll go into The Handmaid's Tale in a minute, but Judge allows New York Times copyright lawsuit against OpenAI in key ruling. So I'm kind of torn on this. AI is being trained with a lot of human work, and it's then kind of reusing that work, I would say. Without the human work, it wouldn't be able to actually function. I will also say this: if the United States allows a lot of these lawsuits to go through and it starts shutting down a lot of these AI companies, foreign AI companies are going to emerge and really not only take the market, but have a huge advantage over the U.S. So especially China, I would say. So they have to be very careful with these lawsuits and what goes on with them. As much as I want to protect human copyright, you also are going to need this technology in order to compete on a global level against other countries and other populations. If one country has complete AI unfettered access and the other country's AI is hindered because they can't train their AI models properly, the population within that country that has unfettered AI is going to be able to move and adapt a lot faster and create a lot more innovation.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, since I didn't put it in, I didn't look at the story, so I don't have much else to say. But
it was just my general thoughts on the AI, not that particular story. So the lawsuit's going forward. We'll see what actually happens in the end, but there is an absolute ton of AI lawsuits right now going forward within Western countries, especially the U.S., because most of these companies are based out of the U.S. Okay.
I was just quickly going to get your thoughts mostly, but The Handmaid's Tale is back with its 6th and final season, and it's more timely than ever before.
Oh, it's a season. Okay, I have about as much thoughts on this as you did on the AI story.
Okay.
I have zero, so why don't you tell me?
You know this series because I've talked about it before.
I probably tune out at that point.
It's very, it's been on the air for a long time. It's based on a book, but basically the book written in the 80s by Margaret Atwood talks about a dystopia where the religious conservative right has taken over the United States. And now because there's an infertility crisis, they're forcing the fertile women to become slaves so they can impregnate them. The men, the religious patriarchal men impregnate these like poor women, the ones that wear the red capes. You've seen the red capes before.
It doesn't sound too bad. I wouldn't mind watching that.
No, it's a feminist fever dream about what they want to happen so they can then go on and do the revolution again, and what the far right is going to do to the United States. But
I was listening to Andrew Wilson before this. Finish your story then.
I forgot what I was saying. Well, I was just retelling it, but I already spoke about it in Spanish. So
the feminist architecture is going to see itself into extinction eventually. They can't. They
don't even know what a woman is.
Well, they're unable to reproduce with their own logic. They're anti-family, anti-everything like this.
I have a video about that.
And their solution is to bring in
surrogacy.
Not surrogacy.
IVF?
Immigration. So they're immigrating Muslims from other countries, which is fine if that's going to solve the problem temporarily. But what's going to happen? You're inviting them into a democracy. So they're going to take away these feminist rights. Yeah. They're going to vote
women's rights.
The people they're welcoming them into the country are going to take away their rights, and then they're going to say, "Well, what happened?" Mm-hmm. And they did it to themselves.
Yes.
If you extrapolate it far enough forward.
extrapolate. My main point with this was more like this sixth season, now that it's more timely than ever before, this is obviously a very biased source that I got this from on purpose. But because now Trump is in office, what they're going to try to do is to say, like, the revolution is now, and they're all going to stand up in arms, all the women that have been subjugated and forced to get pregnant because no abortion. It's an allegory for abortion as well. Will, like, rise up, and they will get to Canada. Canada is this, like, miracle place where all the refugees can go.
Yeah, it's a miracle. Refuge. It's a miracle Canada's still around in this series.
That's what I said in Spanish. But what I also just really quickly wanted to touch on again is the whole fact that it's like a cognitive dissonance, because the series talks about how bad it is that they're forcing these women to get pregnant, but at the same time they're trying, like the people in the real world, the progressives, are trying to, you know, champion surrogacy and champion IVF for women that either waited too long and now they're in their 40s and they can't get pregnant naturally, or for the alphabet community. So they want to champion surrogacy so two men can have a baby with some of their DNA.
Oh, God. This
but
is
at
what
the
I'm
same
talking
time,
about.
they're saying, oh, my God, the women's are enslaved. And they're the ones enslaving the women that don't have other means to get money.
Feminism seems to be on the way down, and I'm happy about that. So, by the way,
they might just be regrouping.
Yesterday, people were asking me to talk about some different religious subjects and things like that.
Yes.
Do you remember?
No. Like, I don't remember what the questions were. Well, something about where it will go in modernity or something in the future.
If you don't watch Andrew Wilson, you should. He's a debater.
People already got mad at you for recommending him.
Not Andrew Tate.
Andrew Wilson, I know.
Oh, they did?
Yes.
I love watching his debates.
They got mad about that religious priest guy.
I don't know.
Yes, the one that talks about Catholic religion.
That's maybe Andrew
No, the
Wilson.
Other one.
I don't know.
Yes, you do.
Okay, well,
the one that sits in like a church, like in a pew.
I don't know.
Yes, you do.
Oh,
and he wears a suit.
Yeah, I do know. I can't remember his name right now.
Him. They got mad about him.
But Andrew Wilson's a debater, and he takes a very, very hard line on different religious stances. But it's interesting to see him interact with like feminist Marxists. He debated a feminist Marxist the other day. He's a Christian nationalist, but he's a very well-educated debater. So he always brings the best arguments, and he knows usually what they're going to retort with. So it makes for a very interesting debate when he has somebody that can actually step up to his level. So if you haven't watched Andrew Wilson, it's pretty good to watch his debates.
Yes, if you're interested in that sort of thing.
You hate it because I watch it for hours.
The thing is, it's hours and hours of him talking to very stupid people.
But you can watch it on 2 times speed.
It hurts your brain.
So it's only 2 hours instead of 4.
Yes, I don't want to watch it. Something I do want to watch if you have...
Oh my God, no.
What?
You're not going to say...
No, I'm not going to talk about that. I was just going to say apparently Brett Cooper, if you know who that is, has a 4-hour interview now on the Sean Ryan show. I haven't watched it. I'm interested because it seems she might talk about the whole Daily Wire breaking up thing.
No, she doesn't.
She doesn't. Yeah, I figured she doesn't.
Because I don't think she does because I fast forward and I watched each chapter and title and nothing indicated that it was going to be in there.
I think she does talk about, like, she has had a very hard life. It is a very interesting, if you don't know about her life, but you like her, everything she's been through, everything she's been able to, overcome. It's very inspiring.
I don't like her at all, but
I like her.
Nat does.
Why don't you like her at all?
Whatever.
Well, you're not the target audience, let's just say.
Okay.
But just in case, there goes a recommendation. Even though I haven't watched it, maybe I'll watch it and then talk about it tomorrow.
Candace Owens is much better than Brett Cooper.
Well, they're friends, and now they can be friends again because they're both out of the Daily Wire. But let's talk about Avengers Doomsday.
Last story of YouTube.
Yes. So Avengers Doomsday bets big on X-Men, Fantastic Four, and Thunderbolts, but will fans care without the original stars? We talked about the announcement yesterday. We also got a comment saying that sincerely, who cares about the X-Men original movies? They were horrible.
I agree.
They were kind of what got me into this world.
I hate the X-Men.
So I mean, I hold a place in my heart for them just because of that.
I've got a very high standard. I've got a very high standard.
You don't like superhero movies?
No, I'm saying I have a very high standard when it comes to superhero movies. I judge them on the same level I judge other movies. So the Batman with, what's his name? The darker one. Not Heath Ledger. Oh, wait, yeah, Heath Ledger was in it as well. The guy that played Batman.
The Dark Knight, Ben Affleck?
No, not Ben Affleck.
Who
the guy
was it?
from American Psycho.
Yes. What's his name?
Anyway,
Him.
the dark ones from there
What's his
were
name?
the dark
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale. The Christian Bale ones were good. The Joker 1 was good. Joker 2, they turned it into a musical. That's ridiculous. So I like the darker superhero movies that are more geared towards adults. I even think like Deadpool was rated R, but man, it felt very childlike to me. I would have liked to see something darker.
Yeah, but what I was going to say
I think this is going to fail. I don't like the idea. I don't like what they did.
I don't think it's going to fail. I mean,
gonna fail.
It might not be interesting to you, but it's going to do well in the box
Do you wanna
office.
bet?
For the people that don't follow things like and are super into the whole culture war, they'll go watch it.
You're already going to...
They're going to go watch it.
You want to double or nothing? Because you're still
No.
going to owe me from Snow White. That
No.
thing's failing.
It's failing, but it's going to stay in theaters for longer than people think.
It's not going to make 100...
They have nothing else to bring out.
It's not going to make 100 million domestically.
But that's not what we bet
That's
on.
exactly what
Okay,
we bet.
I'm
You
not
can't
fighting.
even remember. I'll bring up the live.
No.
Okay.
But will fans care without the original stars? And I think that is the main question. Because a lot of the stars, as I said kind of yesterday, and it's been remarked since the announcement came out, a lot of them either aren't able to come back or are not in good terms with Disney to come back, or their storylines maybe might not make enough sense for them to be brought back, and some of the newer versions of their characters with the new actors are coming back.
Well, each character is going to get like 30 seconds of screen time.
Yeah.
So like
They'll be in the background.
there's
like,
no character development here.
Like with Endgame. Because with Endgame, yes, they brought everybody, but they built this whole world and universe. And I feel like here they might be trying to do it in reverse. So like bring everybody to the forefront and then from there start like branching out to new movies, new series, etc.
Nobody
But I
cares.
don't know if that's going to work.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares about
I
this
think
movie.
more people care than you or some people are aware about.
Oh, God. Okay, I think that's it for
That was it
YouTube.
for
We're going to head
culture.
over to the Green Monster, which is RUMBLE.
The link is down below. We will talk about politics. What's
Yeah.
one of the first headlines?
Well, we can't say that on YouTube. So,
So that something horrible happened in Amsterdam. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah, whatever. Last few comments.
oh yeah, what were the comments? Because there was quite a few comments at the
Well, I
beginning
read
of the
most
show.
of them in Spanish.
But I didn't know.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's about
Oh,
what
it
I was,
doesn't matter. Thank you.
It's what I was talking about. Someone did suggest, Luis Medina Sanchez suggested we do something about adolescence, this TV series
Oh, yeah.
about.
I
really
need to
want to
talk
talk
about
about
that.
it, yeah. So I might do a video about that.
Yeah,
a shorter
because
one.
governments around the world are using this to say this is what toxic masculinity is. Like it's a documentary.
far right and
like this is what's going on.
And white
They're-
men.
They're saying
It's
they
not
need
white men that are doing these
they're,
things.
they're trying to implement laws based on a dramatic series, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Yes. Then Yadira Rivera says in Spanish, I really like your analysis. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
I try my hardest.
They're talking about me.
No, Nat. It
Oh.
says, I really like your analysis, Nat. Mawa Yoga and Wellness says, it happened recently with Interstellar. If the movie is good, people will go to the cinemas. Exactly. Interstellar did better than, I don't remember what it was competing against in the theaters, but more people went to go watch a really old movie. Well, not really old, but older movie. And then Walker says, I remember a series from Netflix called The Ranch. Maybe it was not good and was not popular, but I liked it. And yeah, I think as soon as like TV series and shows start touching upon topics that more people care about, they do better than the ones they try to push on people.
Yeah, there was Angel Studios released a movie recently. I can't remember the name, but some big doomsday event happened, and there was a millionaire that built like a big bunker for his family, and everybody was trying to get in. It actually looked pretty good. I never had a chance to watch it, but again, I'm just trying to mention Angel Studios. If you haven't heard of them, it's a really good film company. They have real good morals and character, and they do really good film.
And they were kind of connected with Eduardo Verástegui as well, at least for some things. But yes.
Yeah. Oh, what was the name of that one movie they did that was big?
Sound of Freedom?
Yeah, Sound of Freedom.
Yeah, we couldn't remember yesterday.
Sound of Freedom is what made them.
Yes.
But they've continued their work since then, and a lot of people don't know that they have.
Yeah, they're still releasing quite a few things.
Okay, let's head over to the Green Monster.
Direct link, the link is down below, and we'll see you there. And yes, thank you.
Okay.
Let me try to end this.
Let me know when the stream's ended, and I'll start talking to the people on Rumble.
Okay. If you are